We are now streaming live on our YouTube channel as well, and I will also just start recording this session. And here we go. We are also recording. We are live on YouTube. We are all set to go. Our participants have already started rolling in. It must been a little tiring for them since we've had a long way today with the webinars. But I'm sure the topic is very vibrant, very interesting, very colorful. And therefore, I welcome you to present your screen. Thank you.
All right.
Also, students, please feel free to use the Q&A feature below to post your questions, and they could be taken during or towards the end of the presentation. Right.
Is my screen visible?
Not yet.
Not yet. It says sharing
Yes.
at my end.
Yes, it is. It is now.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right. We can start?
Yes, you can.
All right. Hi, everybody. Like Devika just mentioned, I know it's pretty late into the evening on a Sunday, but hopefully I can keep you engaged in the next 20-25 minutes while I'm just talking to you about who we are and what we do and what we have to offer. My name is Asha Cherin. I am the Executive Director of Dakshin Endeavors. The organization Dakshin Endeavors is a setup, it's a non-profit setup which has been in operations for about close to 2 years now, but it's backed by a network of environment conservation NGOs. And the whole idea behind setting such an entity up is to bridge the gap between an existing science community and a bunch of students who have interest in ecology, biology, natural sciences, social sciences, the intersection of it all, but really don't know where to go for it. So we're sort of trying to bridge the gap between the two, and that's where we come in. So that's the organization. I'm just so we pre-COVID times our programs have always been focused on outdoor exploration, which is what you see in your screen right now. Mostly students who have learned concepts over their science and other subjects. They actually get to see it in practice, see it in the nature, and they are able to connect it back to what they learned back in school. So that's what the outdoor programs really do to students who naturally have an interest in these things, but really don't get the chance too often to really explore. And it's we know that once they see is when they really get to take in what they're learning back in school. So that connect is what we're trying to build here. And with COVID, a lot of our mode of operation has changed, and we've had to alter with the times, like everybody else. And one such thing that has come out in this year is the gap year program called Mind the Gap Year. We launched in last month. We are into week 4 of the gap year program now. We have a bunch of students from across India right now who are currently who have enrolled for this program. And the idea, I mean, like the name suggests, it is a gap year program for students who've just completed schooling, either they're considering a few options but don't know for sure, or they know they have an interest but they really don't know what their options are or what their future looks like. This sort of program really gives them an idea of what it means to be in the space of environment conservation, researcher, what it means to be a researcher, either in the natural sciences or in the social sciences, or at the intersection of it both. So that's what the Gap Year program does. And this is in collaboration with Dakshin Foundation, which is an NGO, about 10-year-old NGO. It's based in Bangalore, like we are, and it's been working in marine spaces and coastal ecosystems and coral reefs, marine species, flagship species like the turtle that you see here. These are all focus areas of the organization. And what we as an organization do is have these students interact with researchers from the organization. So just to show you a few highlights of the program, we've divided the program into 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and 12 months as options based on the students' availability and time. So few students have already signed up for a course for next season. They're waiting for their visas to come in, things like that. So they have a gap of a certain period. So they can sign up depending on how much time they have available with them. And accordingly, we have on offer programs that are based on the work that the Action Foundation does. So it is an organization that has practitioners who are working real time on conservation issues or studying particular phenomena, concepts, species in the ecosystems. So interacting with these researchers really gives students real life insight into what it means to be a researcher or a conservation practitioner. So other than that, there's also the peer-to-peer learning. Right now the batch is pretty small, but the exchange of knowledge that happens in a session is also between the two students, between students. One person has read something, somebody has seen a documentary, so they exchange the knowledge. So there's that peer-to-peer learning that happens along with these interactive sessions. And the idea of the gap year is to really get them to understand what conservation involves. So there are sides to it in terms of there's of course the subject knowledge. There's also learning how to understand these, write articles about it, read more, learn more, things like that. So that's what you see in terms of highlights here. Um, Natural and social sciences are really the subject matter of it, but there's everything else that comes with how do you even as a researcher, how do you write articles, how do you understand and articulate journals and papers that are written by other scientists and researchers. What do you understand by it? What is the process of conducting a research? What are the various methods in which these are conducted in real time? These are all things that students get to take away from the program. And of course, if they choose the longer term options, they also get to co-author conservation articles, which is along with one of the researchers. We're always churning out papers and articles as part of the job of a researcher. So it's basically, if you've completed a study, then you want to publish the findings of the study, or you have your views and opinions about something, you can also write about it. So as a student, you get to be a part of this process and learn how to actually. And these are different ways of writing. One is more technical, the other is open to a wider audience. So you understand the nuanced differences between these two um, ways of styles of writing. And of course, recommendation letters, this is something that really adds to the profile of a student. So if you're staying long enough for your mentor to really understand how you have grown and understood through the program, there's also a recommendation letter that comes in, which of course I'm sure adds to your profile. So this is the what we call the core development areas that we focus on throughout the program. One, like I said, is the content knowledge, which is basically focused on the natural and social sciences aspects of the environment. So there's always it's when we say environment, it's not just plants, animals, flora, fauna, ecosystems. There's the important aspect when you add the word conservation to it is the human involvement in it. So that's where natural and social sciences intersect, and that's a big part of the program. So the content knowledge is one bit. The research skill development, like I said, how do you conduct research? What is it? What does it really mean? It sounds really fancy. You've seen documentaries on Netflix, and it looks really cool. But really, what's the life behind it? What are the concerns? There's all kinds of research related uh, factors that get counted into, which you really get a sense of through the program. And then of course is professional development. These are your soft skills. So when you're interacting with your peers, how do you write an article, how is it that you go through your process, how do you use technology, how do you use things like Microsoft Excel, to as simple as Microsoft Excel, in fact, to the best of your advantage in the process of research or in this field of conservation. So these are all things that get covered into the program. Moving on, the other program, which is called Wonders of the Wild, is a virtual exploration series. It's for a much younger crowd of students. Uh, uh, it pretty much does, like I mentioned, we are typically an outdoor exploration organization. We really wish to take students outside and really have them touch and feel what they see. But unfortunately, this year being what it is, we've had to reinvent ourselves, and that's where the virtual exploration series have come into being. So really what it is our programs put into an online module package. So we have natural ecosystems like mangroves, the marine ecosystem, the rainforest ecosystems. These are all spaces that you've learned about in school, but you're really not exposed to it in real. So what we have is we have these conservation practitioners within our network of NGOs who come forward and actually spend time with the students to take sessions across weeks. So if it's a module on ocean, so you cover everything from coral reefs to the adaptations, to the kind of species, what are the conservation challenges that lie within this ecosystem, how has human interaction with it changed over the years, what can we as city dwellers do about it. These are things that get covered in this, and it's a lighter program meant for students from 6th to ninth grade. And we will be starting this December, somewhere between mid to late December is when we would be starting these off. And like I said, the field immersion programs is really the the focus of endeavors, and we're hoping that once the COVID situation eases, we can go back to doing what we do best, which is really have students explore the natural forms that we have around us. The Reef to Rainforest in the Andaman Islands has been our flagship program. It's about 5 to 6 days of outdoor exploration, which covers all ecosystems. And Andamans, uh, when you think of the Andamans, this is pretty much the kind of picture that you see. But the image I shared earlier, this is also the Andamans. And what people don't know or realize is that it has a lot more to offer than just its beaches. So there's thickets of mangrove patches. There's very uh, rich in flora and fauna rainforest. A lot of it is protected, but some of it we have access to. Uh, there are intertidal zones. So these are all things that students learn about. There are indigenous tribes that have been living in these spaces for long. There are settler communities. So the students really get a sense of the space and the people that inhabit the space. And as an island, it's a world of its own. So they really get to understand what are the limitations that they live with, what are the unique characteristics that have come about with people living there for the past so many years. So that's Reef to Rainforest. And the Reef to Rainforest is a program that we conduct in collaboration with the Andaman Nicobar Environment Team, ANET, which is a field station that is owned by the Action Foundation. And this again really what sets the program apart is this collaboration, because that itself, ANET itself, is an education and research center that is based in Port Blair, in Vandoor. And there are researchers there who are conducting their study about, any of the things that I mentioned, from rainforest to the ocean to the coral reefs to sharks and rays. So it's these researchers along with our educators who interact with the students and put forth workshops and sessions. So it becomes, you're really hearing it from the horse's mouth, and that really gives the students a real life picture of what's happening. Um, Another similar program is what we call the Farm to Fork, which is again in the Andaman Islands, but in a very different part of the islands. It's in the northern part of the islands, and here it is about the farming, a community called the Karens who migrated from Burma, and they've been settlers in the islands, and their livelihood is on farming and fishing. So the whole program is based on interacting with students, with the community there, and getting to know their culture, their cuisine, their handicraft, the way they build their houses, their farming activities. This is what really entails in the Farm to Fork program. The Wild Western Ghats is again another program that's based in mainland India. Here, what happens is Western Ghats as one part is a big ecological, is of big ecological importance to India for the kind of species it hosts, the kind of topography it has. So a program has been designed to really get students to explore this unique terrain and look at species that are found only in this part of the world. So this is what the Wild Western Ghats part of it take care of. So yeah, that's us to sum up endeavors as an organization, and really what we're trying to do here, like I said when we started off, is to have students get that opportunity. Many of us as grown-ups think, wish we had the opportunity to actually have access to these things and know better before we decided what we want to do, what we want to study or pursue. So we're really hoping that if there's a student with a slight interest in learning more as a researcher, or even just curious about nature, then really having these experiences will be able to guide you to know for sure better whether or not you want to um, really take it forward and how far you want to take it forward. Uh, yeah, Devika, I'm done with my presentation.
All right. So I think we can open it for Q&A.
Yeah, I think I've finished it 10 minutes earlier.
Yes.
Can I stop sharing?
Yes, sure. So students, please feel free to post your questions in the Q&A. I think we've already had three questions, and keep the question answer trail going. So I have just marked them live. If you could read if you want me to read the questions to you, anyway, any which ways.
I'm not able to see the questions on my chat.
It's in the Q&A feature below. Or I'll just read the
Okay, okay.
questions
Yes,
to you if you don't
I
mind.
see. Yeah,
All
sorry, I
right.
can see it. Do you offer any research program in farmers? Can I get help from a mentor in research in farming? This is Pereira. Yeah. No, we're not. We don't have research in farming. What? Okay. All right. I'll just answer that question first. We don't have research in farming. What we have is the Farm to Fork, which is basically interacting with the community that has a lot of indigenous practices in farming. So you can learn they basically in paddy cultivation and a lot of medicinal plants. But no, to answer your question, we don't have research in farming as such. uh, I'm 11 years old and interested. Which course would you recommend to start with? Uh, that is Varchasvi Singh. You're 11 years old. I would recommend the online virtual series that we are starting off by this next month. What I can do is at the end of this, I can give you a link, which is our inquiry link. You can just give in your details, and as and when we have updates, we can send it to you, and you'll be in the loop that ways. You can also follow us on our social media. We're Dakshin Endeavors. You should be able to find us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn as well. uh, what are the prices? So prices are really different for each program. The online modules are going to be about 2000, 2500 per student for 4 to 5 sessions across each week. So there's one session a week, so it's about a month long of sessions for at about 2500. The outdoor programs are of course a lot more expensive because you're actually traveling to a place and back. um, but these really vary. It goes from the range of 20 to 30,000 per student to upwards, depending on what's included, how many days, where you're staying. So those kind of differences come in. How are we supposed to sign up for these online programs? So the website, our website is dakshinendeavors.org. We will be having updates on the website. So far we don't have it, but once we have it, like I said, if you can put in your details into the link that I shared. Devika, is there a way for me to send it to you?
Yes, so you can also type it in the chat box below.
Okay, okay, I can do that.
Yes.
Should I do it right now?
Yeah, sure. Works.
That would be on the chat box, right? Not in the Q&A. Are you able to see it, Devika?
Yeah, I think you've just sent it to the panelists. I've posted it to the attendees as well.
Okay, okay, all right, great. Thank you. So that's the link. You can type in your interest, and we'll be sure to keep you in the loop as and when we have updates. Um, will these programs be useful for those who want to take up computer science engineering? I would say so. When we started the Mind the Gap Year program, also we were sort of looking at what is the intent of doing this program, and one way to look at it is, are you interested, is there inherent interest in learning more about these things? Are you curious about these things? And it need not translate into something professional or academic to you. It could be an interest that you're pursuing on the side. With you could be a computer engineer, but there is this interest that you want to know. It could be a passion, it could be a hobby, or it could be a, something on the side which you want to park for later. So I wouldn't say no to you just because you're sure you want to pursue computer engineering. And really, it's also a matter of, you could be a computer engineer and end up in conservation. I'm an MBA graduate in marketing, and I've ended up here after a career in advertising. So it's really not restricted to those who have a natural sciences or social sciences background. You could be an architect, you could learn about, you could be a doctor, you can understand what is the well-being community. In fact, that is one of the programs at Dakshin, community well-being and environment. It's to look at how important community well-being is, to be able to talk to a community about preserving their environment when their well-being itself is not taken care of. That's not fair, right? So then as a doctor you could come in to set something else, something like that up. So there's always opportunities for any someone with any kind of career background or education background to find a space for themselves in conservation. I would say that from personal experience. Do you have any programs local to Mumbai? Not local to Mumbai, but we have schools from Mumbai who do travel with us and come to the Andamans, or you can sign up for the online programs. But you should check out Marine Life of Mumbai. They are an organization that has been working consistently with the past few years to create awareness about the coast of Mumbai and the life that it is home to. You should definitely check them out. What online program do you suggest for grade 7? Grade 7, definitely Wonders of the Wild, which is the virtual program. We will be launching it. Please do drop in your details in the Google link, and we'll be sure to keep you in the loop once dates are announced. What are options during COVID times? Yes, of course, the gap year program is entirely virtual this year. We have students from Bangalore, Bombay, Delhi, Hyderabad who signed up for the program, and they meet online, and we've been meeting them online and virtually. And the researchers come on. Similar to what I'm doing right now. They take sessions and there's a lot of interaction. It's not ideal, I'll be honest. We are very used to interacting with students in person and taking them outdoors, really showing them things. But we have to make do with what we have. So yes, we do have these programs online, and Wonders of the Wild, which is the virtual program, will also be entirely online for this season. What are the other things your foundation offers which others do not offer? I'm not sure what others offer or not, but these are pretty much, I mean, we started off with our outdoor programs, which I would like to believe really has something different to offer because of the nature of how it was set up with the support of these NGOs that are actually working and researchers who are actually working. So it's a combination of an educator who's trained in place-based pedagogy. That's the term for it. But place-based pedagogy is really understanding a place and what it has to offer, and really deriving learning out of that space. Which is why when a student goes to the Andamans, they're taking back more than just the history of the place. They're really understanding the space, the people, and a lot more soft skills from that. Uh, so uh, the programs that we have pretty much work around the same philosophy, but yes, right now because of COVID we have online programs. Otherwise it is these outdoor programs.
I'm so sorry. I would just like to interrupt for a
Sure.
minute. So, there are a few questions wherein students are saying that the link needs some access or some sort of permission.
Okay, I can change the access. uh, One second. You should be able to access it now.
Um, I would just request any one or two student to try to access the link now and just write it in the chat box if it's accessible.
Yeah,
And even I am trying at my end.
sure. I'll just go back to checking the questions.
Sure.
Mm, I see a lot of grade 7 related questions. To all of you, I would recommend the Wonders of the Wild program that we are launching next week. It's very similar to our outdoor program. It's just that it's online. I mean, I wouldn't say just that it's online. It's very different as an experience. But what the learning outcomes out of it, if you genuinely have an interest, then this is going to keep you hooked throughout. That is something I can assure you.
Yeah, the link is accessible now. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you so much for bringing it to my notice.
Yes.
Someone has asked, would such programs enhance our CV? It really depends. I'm not an expert in this field, but what I can say is that if this is your interest, we're actually not looking at it from enhancing a CV perspective, but we're really enhancing your interest. I myself am somebody who has shifted careers midway. So I knew at one point there are these buzzwords that I've heard about, but really don't know enough to take a plunge and quit everything I've done and learned so far into something new. But for students of this day and age, they have access to all of these things much better and much way in advance than we had back then. So we're really trying to fill that gap to say, do you have questions that need to be answered before you decide on your future course of action? Then, and it is based in this field, then yes, we are here to sort of clear those things for you. You'll have a wider, more clearer picture of what it would be like to be in a field like this, uh, if you were to pursue it. So that's really the gap that we're filling. And in the process, I'm hoping that it really enhances your CV as well, because I'm not too sure there are too many gap year programs in India, and none, I believe, in this particular field. So having something like this should give you a boost to your CV. Gap year program is for students who have completed grade 12 and above. We do have a student right now who's in grade 11 as well. It's difficult, but he's a very, very dedicated student, I must say, because you have to manage your school, your after school tuitions, and something like a program that we offer, which in itself is quite, it's not light in terms of the content, because you're trying to learn a lot and try to imbibe a lot, and we are trying to teach a lot in a short period of time. So there's a lot going on there. So if time permits, anyone from grade 10 and above is welcome, but grade 12, if you finished your 12th and you're waiting to hear, or you're still figuring out what you want to do, you're consciously taking a gap year to understand what are your options and make the best choice that you could, uh, then this is the best for you. This is related to the online programs for 9 to 11. The gap year program, like I said, is an option. The Wonders of the Wild is open to students of higher grade also, but we've been focusing on the younger grade students because um, uh, 10th and upwards, your focus sort of tends to be on your on doing well in your school. So we've sort of taken a step back there, and we thought, okay, let's focus on the students. But in terms of content, it's really accessible to the students up to grade 12 as well. There are any course for robotics? No, we are nowhere related to robotics. We have nothing to do with that. Sorry. Um, would we be given a certificate for college? Mind the gap year comes with a a completion certification. So that certificate is given to students depending on how many. So if you've completed 3 months, it would say you've completed successful completion of 3 months of Mind the Gap Year program. If it's 6 months, then accordingly. And like I said, there's an added recommendation letter that comes if you pick one of the higher, say 6 months, 9 months. The reason we've kept recommendation letter restricted to the higher, the larger duration programs is because you also need your mentor to spend enough time with you to actually be able to give a meaningful recommendation letter. So 3 months becomes too short a time for that to happen, which is why we've kept that for the longer duration months. What are your future plans? Are you going to reopen in-person programs? Because that will be more useful. Yes, we're all hoping, fingers crossed, that we'll be able to resume our operations as soon as it is safe to do so. The challenge with not, I mean, taking risk and actually conducting this in these times is that our programs are in remote locations with very little access to medical facilities, and the local communities themselves are struggling to cope with a situation like this. So we do not want to walk into a space like that for our own needs and actually disrupt that, which is the reason we are not going to resume until we know it is safe to do so. But once it is, yes, the idea is to really head back to the outdoors. Will we get a certificate? Yes. For the outdoor programs, we don't have a certificate. It's what we usually do is we have schools that reach out to us, and as part of say grade 6, grade 7, upwards of grade 7, they have schools have their annual tours and study tours or excursions, as you call it. And we sort of our program becomes the study tour. So they come into the Andamans or the Western Ghats, and they spend the time with us. And we have the whole week or so planned, which includes activities like diving and walks on the intertidal zone, forest treks, and sessions in where they learn about, they create posters about the communities that they've learned about. They try their hand at a natural workshop on mat weaving, which is a natural method of building in the islands. So these are the kind of interactions that happen in the outdoor program. Is there a good scope as an environmentalist in India, or do you recommend pursuing this career abroad? As an environmentalist, I think there is scope anywhere in the world, given where we are at this point. It's different. What would make India give India an advantage over other locations for a person from India is the fact that you are from here. So, uh, and like I said, conservation, when you add the word conservation to, like, how is marine biology different from marine conservation, is the factor of the human interactions in the communities, and the economics, the politics, all of these things that come in. And you, as a person from India, will have a better understanding of these uh, complications and complexities better than, say, if you were to study the same thing a different part of the world. So that's my only recommendation. What is the age group for outdoor programs? Outdoor programs are grade 7 and upwards. Uh, we do have day programs which we curate based on a need basis for younger students. The reason we are restricted to grade 7 and above is because these, one, they are longer duration, and two, they are, like I said, in remote areas. So we need them to be okay on their own and okay in spaces that are it's not the most 5-star luxury sort of conditions for them to stay in. So that openness and willingness to take accept these challenges is something that we need in the students, which is why we say grade 7 and above. uh, how would you suggest for me? If you've completed class 12th, I would recommend the gap year program. If you have an interest, if you have considerable amount of time to spare, and you really like to get a foothold and to understand really what was behind in the field, then yeah, mind the gap year program is for you. Any prerequisites? There's really no prerequisite. Just being it's an online program, so you'll need good access to internet. That's really the only prerequisite, and a general interest in the program. We were quite reluctant to actually take our sessions online, because like I said, we're very used to having our outdoor space, and that's really been what we've been pushing our students to try and be more curious about the outdoors. So taking it to an online platform was a bit of a challenge to us, especially when students are have back-to-back school sessions and tuitions, and there's so much going on and everything is online. So we really didn't want to add to it, but there's been more and more interest and people asking us if there are such options, which is why we've taken it online. So I would say, in terms of prerequisite, is if you have an interest in it. Otherwise, you would just be bogged down by the enormous number of online sessions that you have from everything that's been going on. But if you have an inherent interest and you really want to know more, you're curious, and if you have internet, then Wonders of the Wild is no problem for you. Is Wonders of the Wild a one-on-one program? No, it's a group program. You'll have groups of students come in and sign in. We'll have interactions, so you'll have an opportunity to speak to the researcher who's presenting, who could be a biologist or a social scientist, and they would be able to talk to you about particular topic of of that session. And once the session is over, you'll be able to interact with them. If you have any questions, or if you don't even want to discuss something, and you can even uh, take it a step further and later on reach out to them directly over email and pursue any further questions you may have. Is there a certificate for only the outdoor program without taking the gap year program? Like I said, the gap year program comes with a certificate, but the outdoor program doesn't, because they are very short programs, and the idea is really more to give you that exposure than to really hand over a certificate. And just to clarify, because of the way the question is, I mean, they are two different programs, with one having nothing to do with the other. Just to make that clear. How do we sign up and who do we communicate with? I've sent you the link for you to sign up with your specific interest program that you're interested in. You can communicate with me. Our email ID is programs, that's PROGRA. I should type it out to you. Programs@actionendeavors.org is our email ID. And yeah, I can share my contact details as well in the chat. All programs will be going online. If we miss, yes, you will have a recording of the session. If you've signed up for a session and you were not able to attend it for whatever reasons, we will be able to send you a recording of the session. How can we sign up for the gap year program? So the current batch, it's ongoing, and this is going to go on till early next year. So programs, the next intake of the gap year program will likely be in June, which will be announced. So if you are interested, please do give your details in the link provided and mention mind the gap year. So when we have the dates and details for the next program, we can reach out to you. Mm, yeah. All right. Someone has asked for my contact details. I can send that to you as well. All right. Have I answered all the questions?
Yes, you have covered most of the questions, and I saw that few questions meant the same, so I thought you answered them already.
Yeah. Just going through to see if I've missed any.
Someone just wants to know that does one get a certificate of the Wonders of the Wild program?
No, no, not for this Wonders of the Wild or the outdoor programs. It's just the gap year program that comes with a certificate.
Right. And
Yeah, I think
uh,
I've covered them all.
I
Uh,
think they just wanted your contact on the chat box if you won't mind sending.
yeah, I can do that.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you able to see it?
Yes, we can.
All right. Yeah, that's
Yes.
my contact.
All right. So, meanwhile, they copy your email address and phone number. Thank you so much, Asha, for such an incredible session. It was really
No
very
worries.
valuable and so much to learn. And you've answered the questions with so much ease and patience, and must say in much detail, actually. So, thank you so much for
My
sharing your
pleasure.
time and knowledge with all the students here. And I'm sure by now, you all must have copied the email address and the contact from the chat box below. So thank you so much, everyone, for attending the session, and thank you so much, Asha, once again for giving such a brilliant presentation and your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Goodbye.